Welcome to the Green Bay Packers edition of The Grueling Truth, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive app that lets you call what you think the offense or defense will do in a live NFL game, but then see what the others around the country pick as well. That's Gridiron Mo. Go to gridironmo.com. Would like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and yesterday being Thanksgiving, today Black Friday. For those that have done some Black Friday shopping, I hope that everything was all right. I saw some video footage of different stores, and it seemed like quite the chaos taking place. And I will say this, I've been Black Friday shopping once. My dad needed a new TV, and I went to Walmart up in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin with him, and there it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad up in Sturgeon Bay. I will give them that much. They had it well organized. And it's hard for me to say good things about Walmart because I'm not a fan. But Walmart had good, well organized. We're able to get in, get the slip of paper for our TV, bring it to the register, check out, drove right next to the building, gave them the ticket. They walked the TV out. Boom, we were gone. Took all of like 30 minutes. And you see all these people waiting in line for like hours on end, days on end, wanting to get their top-of-the-line electronics. But anyways, I hope you've all survived that and survived your Thanksgiving meal. For those that are new to the show, I'm Evan with Hallison. I'm the host, usually joined by Troy Trotovic, but due to work commitments, he is unable to join me for this edition of the Green Bay Packers edition of the Grueling Truth. I know he has to work on Black Friday. You know, some people don't even have Thanksgiving off, let alone Black Friday. But wish I could be coming at you guys with better news. We didn't do a preview show this week. Decided I want to do a recap show due to me being up north on vacation last week up in Door County, or I should say this past week up in Door County. I decided I want to do a recap show. And I'm like, yeah, I get to recap the Packer victory. And on paper, this is a game the Packers should have won. This is a game the Packers should have dominated on paper. But, unfortunately, the game is not played on paper. The game is played on the field of play. And last night, the Bears were the better team. The Bears got the victory. It is tough saying that, but it's the truth. Yesterday, the Bears were the better team. Unfortunately for the Packers, it has seemed to be that way for the past several weeks, that their opponent seems to be the better team. That's how it seemed to have gone the past few weeks. Now, they beat the Vikings on Sunday, which was good, but they're struggling to beat teams they should beat, like the Detroit Lions a couple weeks back, and then the Bears last night. Lots to talk about that. Quick recap of the game. They lost to the Bears yesterday, 17-13. Had many chances to win this game. Many chances. But they couldn't capitalize on it. There's a lot of finger pointing that can be done. You can point your fingers at Davante Adams, who had more drops than he did catches. He was targeted 10 times, and he had 2 catches and 3 drops. You can credit the play calling. That's where a lot of my blame goes. You can credit the coaching. You can credit. There's a lot of things you can credit on this on why this Packer offense is not doing what they need to be doing right now. There's blame to go all around, and I'm going to talk about that blame a little bit. Now, they're still 7-4. Now they still, for the most part, control their own destiny. They do get the Vikings last week of the year at home. There was really just one extremely tough game left on the schedule. That's Arizona. I penciled that in as a loss. I actually penciled it in as a blowout loss. Other than that, all the games the Packers have left are winnable. And I know it's the way they're playing right now. It's hard to say that this is a winnable game. But all the games the Packers have from here on out are winnable as long as they correct some stuff. Back to the game really quick. Eddie Lacy, 17 carries, 105 yards, starts, 7 carries, 39 yards, and Rodgers, 4 carries, 33 yards. Combined, those 3 guys combined averaged 6.1 yards per carry. Lacy, 17 for 105. That's 6.2 yards per carry right there. But the Packers threw the ball 43 times. The Bears cannot stop the Packers' running game consistently, but they threw the ball 43 times in bad weather conditions where the wind was blowing and the Packers were having trouble finding guys open. Yeah, they're having trouble finding guys open for the most of the game. Packers turned the ball over twice on offense. Rodgers threw a very ill-timed interception where Rodgers is probably going to get most of the blame, but if you watch it very carefully, Adams didn't even go after the ball. Adams did not aggressively go after the ball, and that's one of the biggest things with Adams so far this year. He's been a big disappointment, and one of it is he doesn't go after the football. He's very passive. Last year as a rookie, he was busting his hide each and every week. You know, he did disappear for a short stretch of the year and had some struggles, but he was the best receiver in that playoff win against the Cowboys. He was the best receiver on the field in that playoff win against the Cowboys. He had a great game against the Cowboys in the playoffs. But this year, Adams is struggling with drops. He's dropping pretty much anything thrown his way, and he's having a hard time, continuing, to consistently catch the football. It's very unfortunate, too, because this is a Packer team. Yes, they don't have Jordy Nelson, but they're very loaded with talent still on offense. The offensive line was supposed to be one of the best in the NFL coming into the season. How many times did Rodgers get sacked? Let's find that stat. He got sacked 14 times, 2 times for 14 yards. So he lost 14 yards on 2 sacks. Not very good. The 2 sacks aren't bad, giving up just the 2 sacks, but Rodgers did get rushed and pressured a lot. Even on paper, this is a game the Packers should have won overall. They had 23 first downs to the Bears 17. They had 365 total yards to the Bears 290. They had 177 yards on the ground to the Bears 101. But 2 turnovers killed them. Eddie Lacy's fumble, very ill-timed. He just busted off quite a nice run, and a guy comes and blops it out right behind them. And Bears went down to score a touchdown on that. Ended up scoring a touchdown on that very next possession. So trying to find exactly when that fumble happened. So Lacy ran right end to the Green Bay 27-yard line for 15 yards, fumbles the ball at the 31-yard fumbles the ball, gets recovered by Bears at the 31-yard line, recovered by Lamar Houston at the Green Bay 34. And if the very next series, it goes Bears no huddle, shotgun, quick short pass, run, quick short pass, run, and quick short pass, a run, and then quick short pass for a touchdown. After the Bears got the ball back, after the Eddie Lacy fumble, they switched their offense up, and they were doing a quick short passing game and letting receivers get yards after the catch. And a lot of them were flanker screens and bubble screens. So in the very next series for Green Bay, starts up the middle for 10 yards. Starts for 7 yards. Then Rodgers pass short middle to Starks for 10 yards. Starks to get stopped for 1 yard. Then what do the Packers do? They get a pass interference call on on James Jones on a play that got the Packers down to the 1 yard line. Then Rodgers passes short for 10 yards to Starks. Then incomplete pass, and they have to settle for a 22-yard field goal. So that fumble basically gifted the Bears 7 points, and then the Packers, who drove downfield at ease, getting big chunks of yards, 7-play drive where they got big chunks of yards, and they had to settle for a field goal. Now, to me, the penalty on Jones was unwarranted. They caught him for a pick play. It wasn't a pick play. It wasn't. It was not a pick play. I'm sorry. That was a weak call. The Bears were doing it all game long on those I shouldn't say all game long, But the Bears, when they went to those quick bubble screens, they started doing that exact same thing, more blatant than the Packers. But it's okay for the Bears to do it, but not for the Packers. No, I'm not blaming the refs, because, no, the refs did not lose this game for the Packers. But then the Bears get the ball back after the field goal, and the defense gives up their, let's just say the special teams give up a 37-yard return to put the Bears in good field position at the 42. And after that, the Bears drove down and scored a touchdown to make it 14-7. 14-10, with the possibility of making it a 21-10 game coming out of halftime as the Bears get the ball first. Well, the Packers were having none of that, and the Packers drove down to kick a field goal to make it 14-13 at halftime. The third quarter came, no points scored, and then the fourth quarter came with just the Bear field goal, and Packers couldn't get it in. They had two opportunities to try to drive the length of the field, but just couldn't get it in. And I do want to put blame on Davante Adams. He does deserve some blame. But the not committing to fully commit to a run was a huge reason. Lacey's averaging 6 yards a pop. Starks is averaging a little over 5 yards a pop. And you throw the ball 42 times in bad weather. I don't understand it. Josh Sitton, I wish I could find the audio clip. I couldn't find the audio clip, but after the Detroit loss, he came out publicly on a local station in Milwaukee, came out publicly and said the play calling is too predictable. Coaches around the league are saying the play calling is too predictable. T.J. Lang comes out after the game yesterday and says he criticizes not committing to the run. And then Ryan Wood, a writer for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, writes an article today talking about the reluctance to fully commit to the run is prophylaxis. And I don't get it either. Lacey is playing good football right now. He showed it in Minnesota. He showed it last night. Why don't they fully commit to the run? Now, when the offensive coordinator, Tom Clements, and I put a lot of the blame on him, I put a lot of the blame on Mike McCarthy. But Tom Clements, when he was offensive coordinator in Buffalo, I remember, and this was back in 03, I think 04, 05, a lot of people were critical about his play call. Too predictable. No creativity. The plays were easily able to be figured out. They were very dry, very boring. Same things that are being said right now about the Packers play call. Tom Clements got stripped of his play calling duty midway through year 2 in Buffalo. Didn't really help the offense much after, but the same things that were said about Tom Clements in Buffalo are showing up in Green Bay. I wasn't a fan of the move to start the year. I was not a fan of Mike McCarthy giving up his play call. I think he overreacted to the game against Seattle. And I know Coach Goodpaster and I have had many, many discussions about just, Mike McCarthy, on him and I disagreeing on McCarthy, on his effectiveness as a coach. I think he's a really good play caller. Is he a good head coach? I don't know. But he's a really good play caller. Packers are top 5 offense in the NFL last year. Right now, they're 11th, averaging 23.8 points per game. Last year, they averaged over 30 points per game. Passing game, they're 23rd in the league at 228 per game. Total yards are 21st in the league. Last year, let's look at last year, 2014. Mike McCarthy's last year calling the plays. Well, it won't give me the updated league rankings, but yeah, he gives up the play calling after having a top 5 offense last year, and now the offense is 11th in points, 21st in yards, 23rd in pass, and 10th running the ball. They're 10th in the league running the ball, but they won't run the ball. The 23rd passing the ball, but they won't pass the ball. Now, before I continue, we do have to thank our sponsor, Gridiron Mo. So we're going to step away briefly, step away for about a minute, thank the people that make this show possible, and we'll be back, and I will continue my tirade on Tom Clements. So you've been listening to the Green Bay Packers edition of The Grueling Truth.
This is former All-Pro Leon Searcy. I've got a new interactive app called Gridiron Mo, where you get to call the plays, offense or defense, and a live NFL game. You get to interact with other fans, pick the play, pick the call. That's Gridiron Mo.
And welcome back to the Green Bay Packers edition of The Grueling Truth, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive app that lets you call what you think the offense or defense will do in a live NFL game, and then see what others around the country pick as well. That's Gridiron Mo. Go to gridironmo.com. Go to gridironmo.com for more information. I'm Evan Witallison, flying solo today, recapping the Green Bay Packers' heartbreaking, embarrassing loss, pathetic loss to the Chicago Bears, 17-13 last night. And going into the break, I was pointing the finger on Tom Clements, and I think he deserves a lot of the blame for the ineffective and the offense struggle. And the Packers started 6-0. They're now sitting at 7-4. But when you look at the schedule as a whole, the writing was on the wall prior to now. The writing was on the wall prior to right now. They only scored 17 points against San Francisco, a defense that's supposed to be really, really bad. They scored 24 points against St. Louis. Okay, things are looking okay. 27 points against San Diego. And Phillip Rivers, he had 500 yards passing, but they held the Chargers at just 20 points. And then coming out of the bye, they scored 10 points, 29 points, 16 points, 30 points, 13 points. Over the last 3 games, the defense have given up 18, 13, and 17. And they're 1-3 to show for it. So before anyone points the finger on the defense on why they're struggling right now, just stop it. The defense is playing really good football right now. They didn't make the big play last night that they traditionally do against the Bears, but I'll get to that in a minute. I want to continue talking offense. Mike McCarthy gets the blame too, because Mike McCarthy, the head coach, should be able to see there's a problem here. But all he talks about, it's small things that need to be corrected. It's execution. It's receivers not running the correct route. Well, then hold them accountable. He did bench Davante Adams for a couple of series yesterday. But hold them accountable. If receivers are not running correct routes, put someone else in there that will. You keep talking, and I'm not 100% sold on Jeff Janis. But you keep talking about how improved Jeff Janis has been. He's starting to make an impact. He's starting to show up in practice. His practice habits are starting to get where you want them to be. But yet you don't try to get him too involved in the passing game. Now, there was one play yesterday that, yes, Tom Clements tried getting him involved in the passing game. It was a play-action pass. And I did say when I was previewing the game for the Red Light Sports Network, the network that Troy and I run outside of here, I said the Packers would score on a deep pass to Jeff Janis on a play-action fake. They had Randall Cobb in the backfield to go with Justin Perillo and fake the handoff to Randall Cobb. Nobody on the Bears bit. No one. The linebackers didn't bite. The defensive backs didn't bite. The safeties didn't bite. And it was tight coverage all the way around. If you're going to run play action, put your running back that's averaging 6.1 yards per carry in the backfield and fake it to him. Then the Bears might say, look, Eddie Lacy's in the backfield. We might have to account for him. But offensively, the Packers have a lot of problems. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, even though they said it's 7-4. There's things they need to correct on offense coming up. They got a game coming up Thursday night again against Detroit, They got to get some things corrected. They have to. Then they got, the Cowboys coming up after that. They got the Falcons. Not the Falcons. They got the Cardinals mixed in there too, to go along with Oakland and Minnesota again. So they got Detroit, Dallas, Oakland, Arizona, Minnesota. Not an easy track ahead of them. They got to get some things correct between now and then. They have to get some things corrected between now and then, or this season is going to continue to sputter down and down and down. Offensively, what can they fix? Well, let's run some different routes. The routes you're running are not working, so let's run some things different. Let's do some crossing routes. Let's do some, some quick wide receiver screens. Now, I know Adams had a horrible game, but one thing Davante Adams did really well in college was catch the short pass and turn it into a big game. Let's do some of that. Let's, do some motion. Run some wide receivers in motion. Run some, some more play action. Run the damn ball. Run the football when it's being successful. That's kind of the things they need to do. Will they do it? I don't know. Mike McCarthy's stubborn. It's obviously that Tom Clements isn't getting the job done, but he's going to stick with Tom Clements, unfortunately. Defensively, things are a little better. Defensively, the Packers are playing much better football. They're currently 8th in the league in points allowed. 19.5. They are giving up a little bit of yards, but they're keeping teams out of the end zone. That's the big thing. They're keeping guys out of the end zone. Now, the one thing the defense didn't do in this game, the defense played well enough for one last time. The one thing they didn't do is get consistent pressure on Cutler. That's the one big thing they didn't do. They didn't get consistent pressure on Jay Cutler. If there was one complaint I had yesterday, it was that. Cutler had 31 dropbacks. He got sacked once, and he only probably got pressured about a handful of times. That's not good enough. It's just not. It's not good enough. You got to get Cutler pressured more. And the other issue the Packers ran into, Cutler did what Cutler's known to do. Cutler's known to throw at least 2 or 3 balls a game that you should intercept, and the defense failed to capitalize. There was a couple of times that they had a chance to intercept the ball, and they were just a second slow to get there to intercept it. Very disappointing with that. Now, positives, Matt Forte held to 44 yards on 15 carries, long of 7. Langford, 12 carries for 48 yards. He did have a long of 14. Almost broke a first down on the 3rd and long, which the Packers, if they would have gave up the first down, they would not have had the chance to try to win the game at the end, because they would have been able to run out the clock, as the Packers were now out of timeout and just have the 2-minute warning left. But defensively, the Packers are doing all right. As I said, they've given up 18, 13, and 17 points the last 3 weeks. They had a 2-game stretch there against Carolina and Denver where they gave up way too many points. Against San Diego, they gave up way too many yards, but they didn't give up a ton of points. But defensively, the Packers are doing all right, but they just need to get a little bit more consistent pressure on the quarterback, and they got to take advantage. They have to take advantage of when they have opportunities to intercept footballs. They got to force those turnovers. Right now, the Packers are currently +6 in turnovers. I don't know if that was going into the game yesterday or if it's with the game yesterday, but they are +6 in turnovers. They got to force more turnovers. That's the one thing that's always been there about the Dom Capers defense, other than, I think it was 2013, the safeties did not have an interception. Other than 2013, that's one thing the Packers have been very good about, is forcing turnovers, and they forced 8 fumbles this year and 11 interceptions. Got to get more consistent on that. The one big concern I have is Denarius Randall. He left the game with a knee injury, and he's been one of their pleasant surprises this year. Always seem to come up with the big play when they need it. So that's a concern. And then the one guy I don't really want to see on the field anymore is Demetri Goodson. His first play on the field yesterday, he gives up a pass interference that was a third down, and it wasn't very good either. He was all over him right away. But with that said, offensively, Packers have a lot to work on. Defensively, things are okay. They're still 7-4. It's not all doom and gloom right now. It's pretty cloudy, but it's not all doom and gloom. If the Packers fix some things, like get more creative in the play calling, maybe play Jeff Janis a little more. I'm not saying Jeff Janis is the answer. Play calling needs to be fixed. Play calling, to me, is the biggest concern with this team right now. The Packers should be okay. But we shall see. Now, we will be back probably Tuesday night with another edition of the Grueling Truth, Green Bay Packers edition of the Grueling Truth, previewing Packers Detroit. Hopefully, I'll be a little more upbeat as I research the game and read do my research for the game. Hopefully, I'm a little more upbeat. But right now, I know I'm not the most upbeat, and I know some of you are going to listen and be like, what kind of Packer fan are you bashing the team? And it's not so much that I'm bashing the team, it's that I'm frustrated that this team is better than they are. Yes, they're 7-4, but the past, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, they've been playing really horrible. And now it's time for them to put up or shut up time, and it's time for them to play much better football. Now, as I said, we'll get back to you next week. We should be Tuesday, we'll record this show and then be posted shortly after. Thank you for listening to the Green Bay Packers edition of The Grueling Truth, brought to you by Gridiron Mo. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and enjoy your weekend of watching other football games.